Calgary Council has proposed permanent water restrictions. Proposing permanent water restrictions is not something I ever imagined I'd see in Canada, especially considering Canada has 20% of the world's surface freshwater and 7% of the world's renewable water flow. This despite Canada being less than 0.5% of the world's total population, despite the country's insane immigration policy of late. I never thought the saying, import third world people, receive third world problems would be applicable here. Following a break in one of the city's water feed mains, the city implemented Stage 4 water restrictions, which bars Calgarians from using water for any outdoor activity. Calgarians can't even use water to wash outdoor surfaces such as buildings, sidewalks, driveways, or their cars. On top of the outdoor restrictions, Calgarians have been asked to use dishwashers and washing machines with only full loads, limiting showers to 3 minutes or less, turning off humidifiers and ice machines, and turning off the tap when brushing teeth or shaving. I hate to say it, Calgarians, you might need to get into the shower with your clothes on. These restrictions caught the eye of Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who shared my article that I wrote and published with True North. Peterson said, local councils in Canada now construe their job as limiting services rather than providing them. Yes, Peterson had a typo, which seems eerily common on X. Check your spelling, people. Peterson continued, the poster child for idiot, compassionate, utopian authoritarianism. Oh, that was a mouthful. You elected her, Calgary. Now you're living with the results. Calgary has been issuing updates on the water break twice a day, and during the update, they provide up-to-date statistics on how many Calgarians have told on their neighbors. It was Peterson who warned that so many Canadians were chomping at the bit to tell on their neighbors, as highlighted by the pandemic.
When people read the history of Nazi Germany, they always think they're Schindler. They always think that they're the person who would have saved Anne Frank in the Netherlands. They never read history as a perpetrator. I wouldn't have done that. It's like, did you watch people during the pandemic? In Canada, 30% of my neighbors were thrilled that they had the opportunity to inform on the people around them. Thrilled. They would have worn those goddamn masks for the rest of their life if the payoff would have been they could feel morally superior and informed.
Of course, Calgarians are no fan of Mayor Gondek. In the most recent polling from Leger, Gondek had only a 24% approval rating. Every decision Mayor Gondek seems to make, from the single-use plastics bylaw to the citywide rezoning plan, she falls further and further behind in public approval. Despite already being among the worst, most hated mayor of all time, Gondek is becoming like Trudeau, unable to walk outside without being booed, having to fill press conferences with invited guests only as to not be booed off the stage. When Gondek went to a Calgary Flames game near the end of the season, she was greeted with a chorus of boos. The mayor is so unpopular that a recall petition to force her resignation accrued over 72,000 signatures. This process was quite flawed and challenging, with requirements like every signature having to be in person, by hand, and verified. This process was so revealing, in fact, that Alberta Premier Danielle Smith vowed to change it. This week, Calgary City Council is set to discuss amendments to the wastewater, stormwater, and water utility bylaws. The proposed amendments include a permanent watering schedule allowing Calgarians to use sprinklers for only 3 hours a day, 2 days a week, between the odd hours of 8 p.m. and 10 a.m. Yes, those are even numbers, but the late hours struck me as odd. Fines for violating Stage 1 water restrictions begins at $400, rising to $600 at Stage 2, $1,500 at Stage 3, and $3,000 at Stage 4. Currently, Calgary's water restrictions begin at voluntary water restrictions before escalating to Stage 1 to 4 restriction levels. Stages are determined by risk of drought conditions. Stages 1 to 2 are normally implemented when it is, quote, very dry, and Stage 3 to 4 when it is extremely dry. If the proposed changes are implemented, the voluntary water restriction stage will be replaced with the outdoor watering schedule, which will be permanently in effect. The City of Calgary said that the administration started to explore watering schedules in 2021, which it claims 71% of Calgarians supported. Let me know if you'd ever support such an action. 71% does seem like quite a high number. The watering schedule will remain in place throughout the summer 2024 unless more restrictive measures are required due to worsening drought conditions or operational needs, Calgary's report warns. The community of Bonus, I'm not actually sure how it's pronounced, was previously under a boil water advisory but recently had it lifted. The administration plans to update its water efficiency plan further in 2025. Almost 2,000 Calgarians have already told on their neighbors. They feel they aren't doing an adequate job of following the water restrictions and have called the city bylaw office to complain.
From a bylaw perspective, officers have had 2,120 calls since June 6th. There have been 574 written warnings issued, 723 verbal warnings, 3 violation tickets have been issued to corporations. We have had a total of 131 calls for service for the fire ban. 12 are pending investigation. 15 written warnings have been issued, 59 verbal warnings have been issued, and 4 violation tickets have been issued. The total number of calls related to the water event at our 311 system is 7,246.
City officials announced Monday that the Calgary Stampede will proceed as planned. However, they encouraged tourists and Calgarians alike to take short showers and do their laundry at home. Initially, the city estimated that repairs would take about a week. However, on Friday, they revised the estimate to 3 to 5 weeks after discovering that the main requires repairs in 5 additional locations. I genuinely do not know what's going on in Calgary. I've seen a lot of conspiracy theories, let's call them online, about how the city may or may not want to implement long-term restrictions, and this was their plan all along. I don't know. I don't live in Calgary, so anyone who does, feel free to let me know what you think. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. This is Lamoureux Lately. I said it was going to be weekly initially, but now, I mean, there's so much news going around. I feel the pressure to do it almost every day. And as you can see, my mustache lives on. That's because I'm recording this about 45 minutes before the Oilers game. So hopefully it makes sense because we won and we're going to win the Stanley Cup. Thanks. Bye.